The 2023 NHL Draft is less than 2 weeks away. Today we're doing a mock draft and determining who we feel will be the top 16 selections, and that's coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, today we're doing a updated mock draft here for the 2023 NHL Draft. Obviously, it's been a little while since we've completed one of these. Since we had the draft lottery, I did do one of these videos after that, since we knew the actual order. Obviously, things could change the actual draft itself. There's expected to be a few picks swapped or traded or whatnot that could obviously, impact some change here. But for today, we're going to go through this draft, which has a lot of talented players, and I'm going to tell you who I feel are going to be the first 16 selections based on best player available and to some degree best player for specific teams picking in those spots. So here we go. So we're going to jump onto the computer. I'm going to go through these selections one by one, 1 through 16, and give you my predictions. Selecting first overall, we have the Chicago Blackhawks, and there's no doubt they will take Connor Bedard of the WHL's Regina Pats. Connor Bedard is expected to be a generational type player. Certainly one of the best first overall selections we've had in recent years for sure. I personally think he's going to have the amount of success that will be comparable to former first overall picks like Austin Matthews and Connor McDavid. He's going to be a proven goal-scoring and playmaking centerman. The kid is absolutely ripped, jacked. He's not an overly huge guy, but for the body he has is in incredible shape, not to mention the immense talent that comes with it. So there is no doubt 100% the Chicago Blackhawks will be taking Connor Bedard and are very fortunate to begin their rebuild with him. Next up, we have the Anaheim Ducks. They will be picking second overall. They will take Adam Fantilli from the University of Michigan. Fantilli's had a fantastic year of development, represented his country on multiple occasions as well, between the World Junior Championships and the World Championships, obviously winning the Hobey Baker Award during his college hockey season as well. So certainly had a fantastic year. Fantilli also projects to be a top-line, franchise-altering left shot centerman. So, I mean, he's maybe not going to be the player Bedard is. Time will tell. Hard to say how much of a gap there'll be over time, but Fantilli is a fantastic player in his own right, and the Anaheim Ducks will be absolutely thrilled to get their hands on him. There's no doubt that's where the pick will be. The Columbus Blue Jackets will be selecting number 3 overall, and I'm pretty confident they're going to select Swedish youngster Leo Carlsson. Now, he's also a future number 1 center. He's projected to be in the NHL. He himself had a very impressive season. Also, like Fantilli, represented Sweden not only at the World Junior Championships, but also at the higher level, the World Championships as well, and was the number 1 center on that team during the World Championships. Had a fantastic showing there as well. He's 6'3", so he's got the size and strength to be NHL ready right away. He could be a big part of the lineup to be a future line mate of guys like Johnny Gaudreau, Patrick Laine, and should be able to join the Jackets in short order. I would think he'd be one of a few players who would be potential to join the NHL right away. Next up at number 4 overall, we have the San Jose Sharks, and I think they're going to take a chance here on the terrific player from Russia, Matvei MItchkov. He's a very controversial player. A lot of people don't know where he's going to go because of the fact he's going to be in Russia for a while. We know he's going to play over there for, I believe it's another 3 seasons. But, there's the potential he could sign and stay longer. He could slip lower than this. It would not be overly shocking. But in my opinion, with the Sharks, they almost can't afford not to take him starting a rebuild. They have lots of time here to be patient. As they wait for him to come over, they can get their team prepared to be in a better spot. And I think it makes a lot of sense for him to make this pick. Number 5 overall, we have the Montreal Canadiens, and I think they're going to select Will Smith. Now, of course, they could move up. There's a lot of rumors about them trading upwards as well. But Will Smith will be a player that's been a high riser on this year's draft rankings, a player that Kent Hughes is very familiar with. He's a dynamic centerman coming off of 2 dominant years, playing with the United States National Team Development Program. Obviously going to be playing, college hockey, so he's not going to go to the NHL immediately. But to be honest, if he's available at 5 and the Habs don't move up, I don't see any way that they're not going to take him. He's really a fantastic player overall, and the Habs will grab him for sure if he's available. We have the Arizona Coyotes up next at number 6 overall, and I have them selecting Zach Benson of the Winnipeg Ice. To me, he's the best player available at this stage of the draft. He meets all the criteria to be considered that, in my opinion. He's a high-scoring forward who can do it all. He has a shooter mentality. Put him in that lineup down the road in Arizona with guys like Logan Cooley and Dylan Gunter, and that should be dynamite. Teammates with Connor Geekie as well in the Western Hockey League. I think he could be a big part of the Arizona Coyotes rebuild, and really could be a dynamic player for them for a long, long time. So BENSON, to me, goes at number 6. At number 7 overall, we have the Philadelphia Flyers. They're going to take the first D-man here, David REINBACHER. Obviously, the Austrian player is going to be, one of the few players from his country to go this high. To me, it makes a lot of sense for Philly to rebuild their blue line. They've got a little bit more in the hopper here for young forwards than they do young defensemen coming up in the mix. And I think REINBACHER could be, a quick fix to help their blue line quite substantially. Last year in the first round, they got Cutter Gauthier up front, and now that gives them a great AD prospect to add to the mix. I think REINBACHER just makes a ton of sense here for the Flyers, and should he be available, he'll be their selection. Next up at number 8, we have the Washington Capitals, and I have them taking Dalibor Dvorsky. Obviously, internationally, he's had a good showing. The Caps, of course, as we know, are kind of nearing the end of a window to win with guys like Ovechkin and Backstrom, Kuznetsov, kind of in the latter part of their careers. Dvorsky likely still needs at least one more year before being NHL ready, but his offensive abilities are something to behold here. He can be a very consistent player, and I think would fit nicely with the other guys on the team already. And obviously, the Capitals are going to be mixing in other forwards as we go along, but I don't think he's too far away from being an NHL ready player. Next up, at 9 overall, we have the Detroit Red Wings, and I have them taking Ryan Leonard of the United States National Team Development Program. Obviously, he's a pretty solid player overall, very competitive, has a wicked shot. He should be a high-scoring top-line winger is what he's projected as before too long in the near future here. Of course, like many of the U.S. players, has plans to attend U.S. college hockey, so will be at least 1, maybe 2 years away from joining the NHL ranks here, but that's okay. Detroit's still kind of coming near the end of their rebuild, and can be patient here with a player like this. Be a very nice addition to their top 6 when he's ready to make the leap here. Next up, at number 10 overall, we have the St. Louis Blues, and I have them taking another American-born player and second-generation NHL player, GABRIEL, who, in my opinion, was also another high riser this year. He's another high-scoring winger who set single-season the United States national team points records. That means he beat players like Austin Matthews, Patrick Kane, Matthew Tkachuk, Jack Eichel, etc. As the season wore on, he showed that he could be more than just a finisher. He can be a playmaker as well. He has undeniable skill. It would be an absolute terrific addition to the St. Louis Blues. Next up at number 11, we have the Vancouver Canucks, and another defenseman going off the board here, and that's Swedish defenseman AXEL SANDIN PELLIKA. I do think the Canucks will target one of the top D-men here based on where they're selecting. I think he's the best puck-moving defenseman in this draft. He's a type of D-man who could be real solid and help them run a power play. Like many young D-men, of course, his defensive work still needs improvement, of course, but either way, I think he'd be a major addition and a huge boost to a fairly weak D-core in Vancouver. They don't have a lot of upcoming, high-end defensive prospects, and he could be, a big reason to have that changed. Next up, we have the Arizona Coyotes selecting a number 12 overall by way of the Ottawa Senators in the Jacob Chychrun trade, and I have them taking another defenseman here, Tom Wallinder. Now, Wallinder's a player who's had a pretty solid season. Some think he might go a little higher than this. Some think he might go a little bit lower than this. But either way, they grab themselves a high-end offensive forward with their first selection, and now they're going to take another defensive prospect here to add to their defensive core. So to me, it makes a lot of sense to make this move. Next up, we have the Buffalo Sabres at 13 overall. Another American-born player here. We have Oliver Moore of the United States National Team Development Program. He's an extremely fast skater. Makes everybody around him better as well. He's certainly more than just a speedster, though. He has an electric shot, very quick release, and very dangerous off the rush. So he certainly works hard as well, has a very competitive nature, and I think could be a great addition to that young group of players in Buffalo that's poised to possibly do some special things here down the road. I think they're going to be doing a lot of great things for sure. Next up at 14th overall, we have the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I have them selecting Matthew Wood, who formerly played for Victoria in BC, but now he's been playing with Connecticut of the NCAA. He might be a player who kind of goes up and down here, and depending on who you look at for draft rankings, he might go a little bit higher than this. Obviously, he's a player who's a natural goal scorer with a ton of skill and keeps improving all the time. So to me, I think he's a player with a high ceiling, would fit really well with the Penguins for what they're looking to build for the future here. But he may not be available for the Penguins if things go well for him at the draft. Next up at 15th overall, we have the Nashville Predators, and we have them selecting Nate Danielson from Brandon of the WHL. Danielson is a well-rounded player, good at both ends of the ice. To me, this screams to me Predators when you think about how their style of play, how they've typically been a very solid, defensive team, defense first type of mentality. I think he can play that style of game and yet chip in offensively. To me, he's a real good fit there. In Nashville, we know we're going to see some changes with Barry Trotz taking over. At 16th overall, we have the Calgary Flames, and I have them taking a Western Hockey League player as well from Kelowna, Andrew Crystal. Now, he is an extremely talented player. You could call him a high-risk, high-reward type of player, but certainly I think he's going to go higher than some people feel. I know I've seen him ranked anywhere from 10 to 15, some have him 15 to 20 range, some even later in the first round. Real good buddies with Connor Bedard, and I think in a lot of ways he rivals the skill. He's not the full, complete player that Bedard is, which is why he's ranked much lower, but I still think that he's a very competitive player. He's very talented. He'll beat you one-on-one. Like, he's going to show off his playmaking skills, and I think, to me, would be a great fit in a team like the Calgary Flames. So those are my top 16 picks for the 2023 NHL Draft. Let me know what your thoughts and picks and predictions would be. Of course, like I said, we're bound to see some trades as well, so things could change as well. And should be a fun, interesting time on June 28th and 29th when these players are finally selected. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with the latest news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.